We have a very special person that has just arrived here, and he's got something very interesting to talk with us about. This is the one and only Dave Stickland, the co-founder and president of Popsmith, and we have got to get him inside of this show right now. Get in here, Dave. Get in here.
Yes. What's up? How's it going?
Yes. Dave, what's up, brother?
How are you guys?
Good to see you.
Good.
Man, we're even better now that you're here, Dave.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
You know what?
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, what I love about you, Dave, of course, you have done an excellent job producing this bougie popcorn maker that is very delectable and delightful for all the aristocrats among us. It's very wise on your part, but this is not your first rodeo. You've been in our game for a long time, man. And what I love about you is that you've got sage wisdom for all of us that are still up and coming, endeavoring to build brands and get products on the market that people love and that can bring profit back to ourselves at the end of the day. Man, what I would love, since we've got you here, I want to get your wisdom on Costco. I want to get your wisdom on, getting products and other .coms and marketplaces, etc. But first, man, if you would give us just some background on Popsmith, how this came to be, your development of it, your take on it all. If you give us some background on that, we would love it.
Yeah, sure. You just made me feel super old, bro.
And
Despite the gray in my beard, okay. So we started Popsmith about 3 years ago. We've been in e-commerce. I've been working with Tall for 12 years. That dude is an OG. So if you ever want to hear stories about real early e-commerce, Tall started his first e-commerce company on a dial-up line.
Wow.
And had to buy equipment to be able to take customer sales calls to get that little blip that someone was trying to call him while he was on a Yahoo store,
That's
whatever.
crazy.
So I mean, that dude goes all the way back. And so what a treat to be able to learn from somebody like that. But we had a bunch of businesses that we were running. We had an electronics company called Guardline that we sold right around COVID. And got out of to start Popsmith. Popsmith was kind of our passion project where we decided we were going to take our big swing at a big boy brand rather than, we started in arbitrage, made our own little brands that we thought would do great on Amazon and crush, which they did. And then we wanted to play the big game. Tal had been an angel for a long time and watched a lot of brands come and succeed. And we knew we could do it. Raised a little bit of money in order to really develop something that had never existed. We had never done that before. We'd gone to Canton Fair and CES and, bought products from, that were sitting in different warehouses. But this time it was like, let's build something that never existed. So industrial design, industrial design, engineering, the whole deal to build something from the bottom up to fill what we saw was a gap in the market. Like the only other popcorn machine out there is the Whirly Pop, which is like a $40 aluminum product. They sell that in Crate and Barrel, Williams Sonoma. We know what the volume is on that. We have another popcorn company called Franklin's. We white label that product. We know there's demand for that product. And we knew there was a demand for a product upmarket from that. In that, no one had talked about popcorn in a long time. It was an absolute dusty product.
Wow.
Or a dusty market. We looked at what was happening with bagged popcorn and chips and snacks. And we were seeing this huge evolution on that side. Boom Chicka Pop was happening. Angie's had just gotten acquired right before we started Popsmith.
Right.
There's blood happening in the chips aisle, and this popcorn and nuts aisle of the grocery store remains dusty as heck. And so that's and it was like, well, we can go over there and win. And so that's the point of Popsmith. So we started with the popper because we wanted to establish the bona fides of that we know popcorn. And now you're going to start seeing us get into consumables where we will become, an authority in the popcorn space, not just the popcorn maker space, but we want to be the Orville Redenbacher of,
I love that
going forward here where we become the authority on, taking the time to make popcorn on your own.
Man, I love that. And I had a little intuition about that. I had heard somewhere that that was going to be happening, that you were going to be, getting into the consumables and producing the popcorn, and that being available in other places and spaces. The thing that I love and still love and think is so smart about the popper itself is that, brother, when I see that thing, it's got nostalgia all wrapped up to it. It's like I've been brought back to the early 90s, but in a 2026 way. I mean, it's fancy. It's something that I want to show off. It's something that I want to do with the kids. I've got 4 kids. Don't feel old. I've got 4 kids. And it's something that they would love to get in there and do and help mommy and daddy do. And the wife likes it, looks good in the kitchen. I just thought there was so much that was very smart about that, entering into this dusty.
Thanks. We felt coming out of COVID too, that a lot of people were forced back into the kitchen that normally weren't kitchen people, and they were looking for things to do. And so, whether you were baking sourdough or you were, learning to cook on your own again, or you were learning to do these things, it was just really an opportunity for us to say, why wouldn't you make your own popcorn? It's so easy. And it's just, it's such a better experience. That the quality of the product is infinitely better. When we did a ton of consumer market research before we came out with it. Matter of fact, I probably spent way too much money on consumer market research before we started. And I mean, that was one of the things. It was like, do we clearly have a 10x product that's like not even what the popper itself, but like the act of making popcorn at home, is it that much better? And how many people are aware of that, versus microwave popcorn or whatever? So like we have a clear enemy in microwave popcorn. We have a clear enemy in, like bagged popcorn, that we can say this is a superior experience to. So that made it really easy, and people are back in the kitchen. So yeah.
That's a great point. Boy, having an enemy can be really advantageous. It can be really advantageous for carving out some of that market for yourself. Well, I know, in my mind, and this applies in other categories. I think about this largely in athletics, but winning begets winning. You get some wins, that momentum starts to come, and then other opportunities open up in front of you. And I know that just outside of selling on your website, on your own.com, there have been other opportunities that have come your way. I think one of the kind of mama I made it moments is getting a foot in the door at Costco or something of the like, be it Target or others. Give me perspective on what that has been like for Popsmith.
Yeah. I've talked before this about like, 2023 was a really, coming out of the gate. And then into 2024 was probably the hardest year ever. I've talked about that other places. I've sworn to myself I'm not telling the cry story anymore about almost losing the business. But it's out there if you want to find it. But I will say that, we were incredibly desperate to find traction anywhere we could, and we were throwing Hail Marys left and right. And one of those places was retail. Like, if like we're trying to scale on our own, but like, let's go after as much retail as we can. And the product, as much money as I wish we had saved early on, and we spent a lot of money on branding, and that branding came in really advantageous when it comes to getting our foot in the door in all of those retail spaces. So the fact that we overspent on design and uniqueness and all of that really helps us stand out when you're trying to get the relationship with those places, or at least get the conversation started. So when we did get the opportunity to get our foot in the door with those retail markets, and we got Costco, Crate and Barrel, Williams Sonoma, Sur La Table. We got all of those in year 2. And when you look at our original investor deck, we were trying to get those by year 4. So
wow.
And before I toot my own horn too much, all of them were like, except Sur La Table, all of them were like, you need to do .com first. And you need to show us .com is going to work before you go in store. Now, at the time, when you just need sales, and and what I needed more than anything from them at that point, while we're still trying to find product market fit, is I'll take it, because then I can say on my own website and my
Right.
own ads. I'm available at Crate and Barrel. I'm available
Right.
at Williams Sonoma, because I wanted to separate myself from what I consider DTC slop, right?
Yeah.
Like, every Instagram ad from a direct from China product, or, this isn't a Juicero. For those of
Right.
you who are old enough to remember the Juicero, this isn't some bullshit product that,
Yeah.
like, this is a real deal that like curators of products are choosing. So we dove right into that. And in Costco, we did really well that first year. We got Oprah's favorite things, Oprah's back here, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, and that drove a ton of organic traffic to all these channels. So all of those channels did really well. Like, oh my God, everyone's looking for this everywhere. And so that next year, Costco made a big bet and said, "Hey, we're not going to bring you into warehouse yet. You're not big enough as a company." Their position on hard goods, unlike we've seen friends of ours like pop off with consumer packaged goods. They'll take you in regionally on the consumer packaged goods. Their positions with us was like, we're going to go national and we're not going to go at all, and we don't want to be more than 20% of your company. So you need to keep showing it on this, and then maybe we'll do a road show with you next year. Maybe
Wow.
we'll, and they would string you along. So
Wow.
but they said, and I was like, look, we're growing. Please order from us, and place a big enough order that you're not dependent on whatever stock I'm bringing in. Please, for Christmas of this last year.
Yeah.
They placed that order finally in the middle of June,
All right.
and it was for a lot more than I had told them they should order. They were like, look, we go big or we go home. You don't understand the power of Costco. They put a promotion budget on per unit, and they're like, we need to order this number of units to have the promotion budget. We're going to crush. And we did it. And we begged our manufacturer to make it work. We were way past the date of like, get it by October, which we needed to do. Like it was a lot of pulling. It was a lot of like moving money around. We didn't have the money sitting around to do that big of a PO for Costco. And then we did it. And look, at the end of the day, what I've learned about retailers versus, especially .com retailers, is they aren't interested in doing anything to help drive awareness to your product.
Oh
And
boy.
for a brand that's our size, which is, we just hit 5 million this year. We're
That's
small.
awesome.
We're, the brand is punching above its weight as far as its branding, and as far as it, what people think of it. People think we're always bigger than we are, but we're just starting. So like, you want these accolades, and you get so excited at the idea of being in Costco and wanting that huge hit to the home run, because that would solve so many problems. And believe me, Costco writing a purchase order for that many units and paying me up, 30 days after that, instead of like drop shipping one at a time.
Right.
Like the idea of having that cash in the bank was so exciting for both of us, because it's like, like we're gonna have money like sitting there.
Yeah.
We just sold thousands of units instead of one. And like, so, of course we're gonna do this. But like, then when the units don't move because it's a product on Costco that's not clearly on the front end, or something that someone's always looking for, well, now we have to go back and we have to generate demand ourselves. So now we're begging my friend Josh, who runs AGM, like, please God, I know it's Q4 and I know you're busy, but like, please come help me find some influencers for Costco to talk about my product. I know, and I need this in 2 weeks.
Oh boy.
And like having Josh bend over backwards, with his team to deliver for me on that. And paying out the ears to do that, and then running our own a completely separate ad funnel for Costco to try to move units. And like, so then we pay an enormous amount of advertising spend to move units on Costco, to move those units. And I think the reason you asked me on is like, at the end of this, I look at the amount of money we made, the amount of money they wrote us a check for after rebates and returns, and the cost, and then taking out the cost of generating all the awareness for them to go buy it.
Right.
Where I've taken traffic away from my website, away
Right.
from Williams Sonoma, away from Crate and Barrel, away from Sur La Table. And then I sit down and I'm like, this is how much money we made and how much money we had to front to put it into that inventory.
Right.
man, if I had taken that money at the size we are, and I had just said, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into my meta funnel instead. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go generate all these sales on my own and build a lasting funnel. Because even if that had worked 2020, that doesn't guarantee me the same PO in 2026 with Costco. But like
Right.
scaling on meta is self-fulfilling, is self-sustaining, hopefully, knock on wood, in case something happens with it, you can continue to grow. And like if I could go back in time, I would say, don't reach for this brass, like this, don't stretch to reach this big rung up, and instead,
Wow.
go back and keep building what you know is going to work and what is going to be life sustaining and giving. Find creative, do all of these things. And it was a second lesson in trying not to cut the line.
Wow.
And that's my thing. And we got tons of praise. Oh my God, you guys are in Costco. My
Yeah.
investors, the friends and family that,
They
oh my God,
loved it.
so happy. Look at this. Look at these pallets that are wrapped going to Costco warehouse. And like, so amazing. And it's wonderful. And it's like, it feels like you made it. And it's like, they love the product, right? Like they love the product. But at the end of the day, if you're a smaller brand that does not have a sustained amount of awareness,
Yeah.
where you are driving interest, it doesn't matter how good the product is unless people are actively looking for you. And the difference between .com at Costco and in-store Costco, or .com anywhere, is when you come to my sales funnel, you are coming to Popsmith. I'm bringing you in. I'm
Oh
ushering you
yeah.
into my ads. I'm like, hey, come buy a pop. Here it is. Here's this Popsmith. You've watched 3 ads. Here it is.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Look at
If
how
you're looking at
awesome
this,
it
I'm gonna
is.
give you the deal. Buy this. Be happy. Here's 7 emails on how to use it as you get
Exactly.
it. You're so excited to get it home and open it up. Oh my God. You're going to do all this at Costco or anywhere else. You basically, if it was a on foot store, you would have to walk in. They would be in nowhere. You would see it nowhere. You would have to walk to the store clerk, which is the search bar, and you would have to say, "Hey guys, do you have Popsmith?" And they would be like, "I'll look in the back," right? Like they're not putting it out in front of
Yeah.
anybody. And so it's like, are you really carrying my product? Right? Like,
Yeah.
so which is more valuable to you, right? Like putting money into the sale, or sticking money in somewhere that people have a great amount of foot traffic, but they're never actually going to see your product. And then you're being measured on how much natural demand that's generating.
Yeah.
They're measuring how many people are going up to that search bar and typing the product that they're looking for, which you are generating. And
Yeah.
if you're doing a good job of generating and doing ads, the chances of them leaving your funnel to go look at Costco or some other .com, you failed as a marketer. You want them to come check
Wow.
out with you. You paid for that
Exactly.
traffic, right? Like, so,
Exactly.
unless they really love the store, and Costco is one of those places, right? Of course we get bleed to Costco, but, anyway,
Well,
that's my Costco story, and I'm sticking to it.
well, and I'm glad that you are. And I think everybody in this same realm and revenue level. And I think what you said is very poignant. Everybody, because of your packaging, because of your branding, all of the things. And everybody would assume, man, these guys are up here, they're punching so far above their weight. But I think this is a great point, because a lot of the founders that I talk to, and I've got many friends here in Austin that
Yeah.
are in the 5 and below range, or really talking more 3 and below. Their big hope is that retail is going to be the rescue. It's, man, my ads were struggling. We were doing great, great, great. Now it's not 2023 anymore.
Right.
And the situation has changed. And if I can just get into retail, it's going to solve my problems. And I think this is a very poignant tale, because it's not necessarily the case. And
Right.
I wish so much that they would have given you guys a test trial inside the store in the Washington area, or Northern California, or
Right.
wherever. I think that would have given you guys a better experience there. But this, to me, is really needed, and it's a part of the conversation that I hope everybody who is 10 and below can hear, because sometimes, especially if you got to generate all that traffic to get people there anyways, you're better off just bringing people to your own website, because you can bring them in your funnel, you nurture them the way that you like, you give them a sweet deal, maybe even somebody calls them on the phone. I've seen that happen before. So I think this is really needed. What would you say, Dave, heading into 2026? What advice do you have for brand builders now as you see the landscape? What do you think is needed in this upcoming year in general as you look across the space?
Yeah, I think for us and for me, my focus is I think 2026, like there's never been a time that founders need to be more focused on creative in their business. Post COVID, like I remember the days when, you could hire an agency and you could look at a weekly report on what Facebook was doing or Meta was doing, before it was Meta, Facebook, or, you could do AdWords and it was a math problem and whatever, even back when Meta was just like, oh, well, we need to test these titles and we need to test this description. And, we're going to make all these different changes and we're going to have the static ad and we're going to do this, and it was something other people could handle. And I think that now, especially, if you are below 10 million, and even probably higher, probably 20, if you are a founder, you are probably going to be the chief creative officer, the chief brand officer.
That's right.
For way longer than you thought you were ever going to be when you started your business. And by that, I also mean you're going to be making decisions on how you spend money on this stuff. And it needs to be something that you are ready and willing to deploy capital on all the time. And because if you do not, you can't win. So it's not, I even now when I listen, I'll watch the great debate of like volume versus quality, on ads, right. And when I talk, and marketers will hear that conversation and they'll understand what that means. Founders will listen to that conversation and they'll go, oh, I just need to post 1,000 statics. And I'm like, no, bro, that's not what this is anymore. Like, that's not what it is anymore. Like, that's not what they're doing. They're not iterating on the same image anymore. They're doing 1,000 different video hooks, 4-second hooks. Like they're talking of deploying lots of money that you aren't thinking about. Like founders are cheap by nature. Like we are trying to protect the bottom line profit. We want to end every month in the black. So the last dollar matters. So, the idea of really understanding what we have to deploy and the ways to deploy it to get enough product, like get enough creative to grow, is really important. 2025 was a year where I was too focused on MER and too focused on like making sure we were profitable all the time. And I'm realizing that like we have to take some risks, and we have to find that curve, right? Like we have to find the right amount of creative that's going to help us find an exponential curve to growth, right? To go, what gets you from 5 million to 10 to 20 is not time. The only thing that gets you to volume is finding the right 7 ads that can produce enough volume over whatever it is by your margin, whatever that magic number is with your margin that you need to do, that are just printing. You need to find those 10, you need to continue to like 7 to 10 ads, and you need to be able to iterate on those and then watch them scale. If you cannot find those 7 to 10 ads, and you will probably have to buy 50 to 60 ads to find those 7 to 10 ads. But if you're not willing to do that, and you can't do that, you will never find it. And if you are managing your business on a month-to-month basis on profitability every month, and like trying to, when you're bootstrapping, which we basically are, we raise some money to like, because it's expensive to make what we make, but like if you're bootstrapping, sometimes you're just going to have to let go of the idea. Like you are competing against venture capital businesses that like are totally fine, like being negative for years on end,
true.
years and years, while they are trying to find that same signal you are. They are spending money to find the signal, and they know when it breaks right, then they will make money eventually. And they're just waiting for that number. So you're going to have to find that sweet spot between what you're willing to do, to how much of a loss you're willing to take sometimes, and then in profitability, because you can't have year-long profitability and growth. You can't.
I think this is a great point on creative, and you're right. It's not 2, 3, 4 years ago. It's not 5 years ago. It's not just multiple iterations of your product, static photo that's from the website.
Yeah.
I remember there was one, and I say this because I think it's helpful for people to I think it's helpful for people to realize the best winning ad I ever made, I accidentally launched it. And the reason that I accidentally launched it is because I knew that my boss would not like it. I knew. I just knew based on his aesthetics and what he likes. I just thought like, yeah, he's not gonna like that one. But it accidentally got launched, okay? And in a year's time, it became one of those ads that you were just describing. You need about 7 ads that crush different angles, etc. And then those are the really ones that help you scale the volume. That ad did us $1 million that year. Just that ad did us $1 million, and it you know, you average it out, it was coming in at like a 10 ROAS, which is unusual. You know, I don't expect anything like that to happen now, but it was the right product at the right time and the right creative, and it just kaboom. And so I think this is a great point. And until you find those and get there, you got to keep trying more creative, more different angles, different hooks, different
founders got to get in front of the camera.
Yes.
Founders need to get in front of the camera, and they need to tell a story why they're doing the business, why they're doing this. They need to lead people on the journey. Organic content matters. You need to be sharing as much of it as you can. Even, you're never going to get around that. If you suck on camera, get good enough to be on camera. If you suck on camera, you'll probably be more genuine than the AI slop that's going to be posted. Suck on camera. It doesn't matter as long as you're passionate and authentic, right? Like when we posted the Sur La Table video, like the biggest amount of people, which we did, like Tal and I both went to our respective Sur La Tables, shot video, and like we did a demo, and it was like we just shot video in it of ourselves talking about why we were excited to be in it. And the feedback we got was just like, wow, guys, this is totally genuine. Like you could really tell we were excited to be in a store, right? Like, and that's what's gonna hit for the person who was on the fence about whether or not to support you. Like there's so many products out there that are sold by lifeless private equity, and they're sold by companies who don't care about your body, like they don't care about you, and they're inflating prices, and they're doing all this stuff. And maybe they don't like the fact that I have to charge a tariff fee when they get to the website. Maybe they feel like the product is too expensive. But when they see the video that Tal is like there with his niece and really cares about making popcorn in this store, and oh my God, mom and dad, I made it. Like they probably know I'm not trying to screw them, too much. And that builds trust enough that they feel like I can trust these guys. If they could sell it for less, they would. I'm going to buy this product. It's worth it. And like, that's what matters. So like your brand position will be connected to how much you can connect to your audience. And then that means the founder, then fine, get out there and do it. But you have to connect.
That's a great point. Get on camera and build that trust. I think, especially in our oncoming, already here AI slop era, this is going to be more than anything, human to human, building trust, etc.
I know I'm over on your time, bro. But
I know you gotta go. You gotta go. I really appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to having you again in the future.
Thanks, brother. You're doing a great job. Everything is great. Say hey to Colin for me. Bye.
I will. We'll see you, Dave. Oh wow. Yeah. We kept Dave a little too long. We kept him a little too long, but I sure am glad that he came. There's a lot of sage wisdom in there. A lot of sage wisdom for all of us.